All right, welcome everybody to the comic panel. I'm Cody.
I'm Talon.
I'm Jacob.
And I'm Shawenta.
And today we are discussing Radiant Black, Volume 1, Not So Secret Origin, written by Kyle Higgins, art by Marcella Costa, lettered by Becca Carey, co-writer on Chapter 6, Cherish Chen, guest artist on Chapter 5, Eduardo Fergado, guest artist on Chapter 6, Darko Lafente, guest colorist on Chapter 5, Natalia Marquez, guest colorist on Chapter 6, Mikel Mirto, and color assistant on Chapter 4, Rod Fernandez. Series logo by Rich Bloom. Editor and designer Mitchell Bustil. And production artist Diane Phelps. All right. So, Radiant Black. I picked this book for this week. And the reason that I chose it, basically, once again, lots of people talking about it. I'm just kind of like, what is everybody else, in the comics landscape talking about? There was also, this isn't a reason, but I feel like it's important to bring up. Once we did, so this comes after it was already chosen, but once it was chosen, I saw that Robert Kirkman of Invincible and Walking Dead fame said that this is the comic to read if you miss Invincible. And that put a lot of expectations on it, I felt like. But yeah, and generally, yeah, at first, like, lots of people were talking about it, and I was like, kind of seems a little bit like Power Rangers. Not that there's anything wrong with Power Rangers, but just like suit design, it's like, I don't know. Go ahead.
Yeah, the moment like other characters showed up in the same suit but other colors, I was like,
Fair.
Power Rangers.
Yeah. But then lots of people were like, no, this is good. So it was like, all right, I guess I have to check it out. And so, yeah, here we are. Radiant Black. This series follows, at first, what is his name?
Nathan.
Yeah, I was about to say like Norin. And I was like,
I mean,
That's Norin Red, Soul Surfer.
no.
Yeah, Nathan, was it penniless? Not even penniless. He's super in debt.
Yeah.
And he's trying to do like Uber, their version of Uber driver.
Oh yeah. It's called Driver.
With a big R. So he's just doing like Uber to get by, and he's moving back in with his parents. And what is it? He's a struggling novelist. Kind of needs a novel to make that. He's a struggling writer. He's like, yeah, I have a novel for my agent. I mean, of course, later on it comes out that was 4 years ago. His agent or an agent was wanting to see the novel, and he hasn't finished chapter 1 of the novel.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's struggling. Going back to his hometown.
Yeah. And he meets up with his friend at a bar one night.
His friend Marshall.
Yeah. And basically when they're like kind of stumbling out of the bar, they see what they describe as a miniature black hole, which also, if you see a miniature black hole, like it's probably already too late. You couldn't even process it, but don't touch it if you get the chance.
I don't know.
It takes them a bit. They don't even like reach out and touch it. They have to follow it because they're like, "What is that?" And then they have to walk a ways to get towards it. Is it Marshall's almost touches it, but then Nathan is the one who ends up touching it and getting powers from that.
Yeah. He gets surrounded by a suit. And like has a helmet. And it's like very obviously, you know, it can like, I don't know, do stuff. And then the cops kind of like come and confront them because they're standing on railroad tracks and there's a train coming. And Marshall is kind of like, don't tell us what to do.
Marshall's antagonizing them while a train is headed their way.
I don't see this train coming.
If Nathan didn't have powers, that was just them arguing on train tracks.
Yeah.
Yep.
But of course, you know, Nathan saves them like a time. Police officers and train are saved. I mean, the train is put in the air.
Yeah. It's probably derailed, at least.
Yeah.
Yes. Hopefully unmanned.
Oh yeah, all those unmanned trains you hear about.
Hopefully not passengered. Hopefully a cargo train.
It'd be like an automotive locomotive. Automotive. Yeah.
What is
right.
it? Like,
yeah.
All he has to use is his brain power. Like, he has to think about it to make it happen, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
And yeah. After that, the cops are just kind of like, well, we can't really do anything, so yeah, you can leave.
Well, they say, they're like, do they even let them leave, really? They're kind of like, how do we write this up?
Right, yeah. And Marshall is also kind of continuing to be antagonistic. Like, you know, we could just drop you or something like that.
The police officers don't let it go.
Yeah.
They literally track them down because I think, he
they're
used
being
Marshall's
loud.
name.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and basically the costume, like you said, works with his thoughts, Nathan's thoughts. Then in Chicago, there is a red-suited bank robbing costumed person.
Yeah, so somebody who looks like Nathan's costume, but red themed is Robin Banks.
Yeah.
Man, they really, when the police come to question Nathan again, don't they tell him about like the bank robber? And he's like,
I don't
yeah,
think
that
so.
wasn't me.
Well, actually, no,
yeah, because they think
right.
they might be related because it's like the same costume but a different color. It's like, do you have any idea who this person is?
Yeah.
Okay, but like as police officers, you're just like, hey, did you rob the bank? And he's like, no. And like, oh, well, you guys are different colored themed. The colors were a little different. I guess you're fine. Free to go.
All you need to get away with bank robbery is an LGB or RGB. That's what it is. RGB light strip.
I mean, to be fair, he saved his life.
Yeah.
He saved their life. So it's not like they're like.
I mean,
it was from an accident we're gonna cause, though.
That's
also,
a fair
weren't
point.
the police officers kind of fine? Like they were near the train, but they were not the ones in front of the train.
Yeah, they were gonna be on the tracks.
Fair. I don't remember.
Yeah.
But yeah, Cody, the way you're talking about it makes me think of those pens you can click for different colors.
Ooh.
Yeah.
This is my bank robbing colors. They just take his word for it, and they're just like, maybe you should help out the town. Become a superhero. A vigilante, if you might. Like, wait, you're the police.
Right? I was like, why would you be in support of that?
Yeah.
This is your one job, to tell me not to do things.
To be fair, I don't know. He's like, I'm community oriented, so the police aren't getting the job done.
Yes, yeah. I was a little like, yeah, it was strange.
Everybody's so supportive.
Yeah. Not his dad though.
Well, his dad is more like, hey, you should
get a
really do
job?
something.
Yeah.
very pragmatic.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, okay, you always have a place here, but like, I don't want you here. Why don't you get a job and move out?
He's like, you can write, but you should also probably do something else to make money before that, since that's not making money yet.
Yeah, but Nathan did not want to hear that.
Yeah. Also,
I mean, I think of course, it feels like his parents questioning his ability to write, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Well, you're not making money off of it. Well, maybe that's not the only value to it.
yeah. Also, small nitpick that like doesn't deserve like attention in the later parts. The logo on his dad's shirt really looks like the Star Trek one, and it's kind of weird. Like I'm just like, it just looks like
sequel.
Yeah, he's
Okay.
A prequel.
he's part of the Starfleet.
Yeah, it would be. It'd be the, I don't know, mountain something. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, though,
Is it supposed to be like a not Nike or like a not Adidas logo?
yeah, I think
Like
so.
he's just about to like get out and jog.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. But
I mean, I guess it works.
yeah. The cops, like we said, come by. They find Marshall first and at his work, and then Marshall brings them to Nathan, and so they show up at Nathan's house. They say that to Nathan's mom that he's a hero, like without getting into the superhero part, just like he's basically saved somebody from a train.
He saved our lives.
Yeah.
That's what they say.
Well, mostly it seems like he saved Marshall's life.
Okay, but yeah, in reality, all he did was save their butts.
Yeah. Sorry, I was just seeing. They didn't actually say that they saved him. Yeah. Or the police didn't say that they saved them.
Oh, they resolved a tense situation
Right, yeah.
because some drunk jerk was making a scene.
Yeah. But yeah, like we said again, they ask about the red suited bank robber. It's like, what? That wasn't me. And then yeah, they kind of are like, you know, they encourage him to be a hero. Marshall continues to be antagonistic. And yeah, basically they kind of resolve to try and find the red suited bank robber to learn more about the mini black hole that gives him powers.
Yeah.
And the way they do this is,
Taxi cab approach, right?
yeah, I
Oh,
guess.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
just
Have
like,
you heard anything? Except I'm the cabbie.
yeah, it's
I think that makes a lot more sense, though, to be the cabbie asking people.
like it works, but like the only reason it works is so like that's how the story can happen. You know what I mean?
Also, like,
Think so?
isn't he driving in his hometown? He's not driving in Chicago, right?
No, he
No, he goes to Chicago,
Yeah.
Okay.
which like I guess is fair because that's like where the bank robberies are happening.
But also,
but-
he just comes across someone who's like, yeah, I saw it. The person went there. It's like, I can't tell the police about this, though. And it just happens to be the place that where he exactly finds the person.
Which I mean, like on one hand, like yes, that kind of stuff does happen where like people with like weird pasts don't come and talk to police about other weird criminal stuff they see. But also like we're just gonna trust that you're gonna go to Chicago, one of the biggest cities in America, and you're gonna talk to the one person who has information about where this crime happened.
Fine with like him
mean,
hearing that like information about the crime happening and going to the place, but the fact that that just immediately sets off like a confrontation between him and the bank robber who's just still there, like I thought he was gonna like go to the place and find like some hint of
Oh,
where
there was gonna be
they would
some extra step in between.
Yes, no, he's just
Instead of
Once and
him just
done.
being right there. Okay, yeah.
and then they fight.
honestly, like knowing who the red person is, I feel like that makes sense that they wouldn't be that ahead of
Hovering
their
over
ball.
their money pile.
I guess, yeah, the person is not an experienced criminal,
Yeah.
but on the same hand, like, you should try to add more steps between, like, your ultimate getaway and where you commit the crime than I robbed the bank, then I went to the junkyard, and that's where my
Base of
where I
operations.
keep all my
Slowly
money.
enough into the junkyard that somebody saw. Like, aren't you fast? Can't you fly too?
Yeah.
Easy peasy.
So yeah, then
Anyway, Nathan tries to talk to this person like just diplomatically. This person doesn't like it very much, and they just punch him out of the sky.
yeah, I mean,
They take his car.
Oh yeah, that too.
Oh, yeah, Nathan approaches the situation as somebody who has watched too many superhero movies and like tries to like start talking him down.
yeah. Also, yeah, weird that honestly they steal the car. Like again,
That they can fly. You're
they
right.
can fly. Yeah. Nearly crashes the car, honestly, too. Nathan is able to save it with his. I guess we didn't really say that, like we kind of hinted, but Nathan's specific power set has to do with control over gravity of individual objects.
'Cause, yeah, I
I had
didn't
no
really.
idea that anybody had different powers.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I didn't internalize that idea until When did
Oh, that.
After
I didn't,
probably what
I didn't
happens
even
in,
think
like,
about
the-
that. You're right.
third or fourth issue when they come back and fight again.
Yeah, it does kind of take that long, but yeah.
Yeah, it's once they say it where the characters
Yes.
say, "Oh, your powers are you like disassemble things to make them like armor and power for yourself."
Yeah.
That's when I like recognize like, "Oh, that's like a different thing than what's happening."
Yeah.
I did not learn that.
I had to go back like a couple of pages and then like reading it again with that knowledge. You're like, oh, this action makes sense now.
I don't know, like I should have gotten it because like when Nathan goes to confront the person in red, it's like why are they just holding like an engine block above their head for no reason?
Oh yeah.
And like that stuck out in my head, but like I didn't get it for a while.
Yeah, no, and I don't think you're supposed to be fair to them. I don't think that was, you're supposed to be on the same page as Nathan. He doesn't know that until.
Yeah.
That's fair. Nathan doesn't actually end up knowing that.
Yeah. That is what I said. But yeah, so Nathan is able to control the gravity of objects, among other powers that I don't think those powers are specific. Like I think everybody can fly and everybody can shoot energy probably,
Okay.
but then everybody has one unique power.
Okay.
That's my understanding so far. Yeah, so he saves the car but does not get the person in red. He finds their bags in his car and it's full of robbery money. Briefly thinks about keeping it, but he returns it to the police.
Like a good old chap.
Yeah. Then he has another talk with his dad, kind of like being like, hey, you're kind of right, but also my writing is important, and that's why I'm going to have like 2 writing days per week.
And the dad's like, all right, good job.
Yeah.
You got a plan. Mm-hmm. That's all I could ask.
Yeah. Also, did you guys read the whole short story?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I skipped it.
It actually was like, I got to it and I was like, oh, I want to read this. It's so
Same.
bright. It's so dark out right now. I'll continue this later. And then I went, no, I won't. And so I just kept reading it.
I did think about not reading it.
Same.
Well, I thought it was just going to be like the one page. And I was like, maybe I'll just skip it if it's just one page. But when it was more than one page, I was like, okay, well, I guess I have have to read it.
See,
Yeah, that
They
was
gave
that
it
was
more
the
than
same
one
thing.
page.
basically,
Like I was expecting it to be like one page, and then like they transition, like they're slowly pulling away the camera from like a laptop or something. It was only going to be the one page, but then it's like 3 pages or
no,
something
it's just
of like an
2.
actual like chapter.
That's
I
just
mean,
two.
this is legitimately how people work through stories, I will say, which I thought was very funny. Because like he literally goes through like I don't know what this story is supposed to be about. Like he's writing this story about this bank robber who she used to work in banks. And she because of that she became a bank robber with the help of this guy she met because they're both so anti-bank or something.
Yeah.
I don't know. They're smoking a lot of weed. That's what she said. And then they just hatched up a plan. Then they became bank robbers for life. And then he dies, and she's
Well,
left
yeah,
with the
one
money.
of them became a bank robber for life.
Well,
I mean,
actually, to be fair,
was
we
his
don't know that because that's when the story
100%.
ends.
Yeah.
The
Also,
other one took the money and ran.
And was like, "Wow, now I could just be anything."
Question
Which-
mark? Question mark?
Yeah,
Which kind of
even
doesn't.
Nathan doesn't know what that means.
Yeah, it
Yep.
doesn't lead to a story. Like, I mean, I agree with Nathan. That's just sort of that's good as a short story.
Yeah, the story should be all the stuff we just talked about, not the story that comes after that. But maybe hey, I'm not a writer.
No, I think once Nathan like worked on it, I actually was like, okay, that once it got reworked, I was like, okay, yeah, that's interesting. You know, she'd been through all this. That's an interesting backstory. And then she couldn't recognize her life anymore, and that scared her. It's very interesting to continue from.
also, yeah, it's, I mean, maybe not the most important detail, but like the pages that were like, just plain text, that was actually his short story version. And the novel is essentially supposed to be a sequel.
Well, he said he was gonna kind of expand it
Yeah.
from this idea.
Right.
So, and he had no idea how he was gonna do that, though, is the problem.
Yeah. Then he kind of like, gets stuck, not being able to, write, still has writer's block basically. He goes to visit Marshall at work. And, Marshall sets up a social media account for him.
I mean, without his permission.
Yeah. Yeah, without his permission.
Yep. This is very Shazam, but, a little bit different.
I have not seen that movie still.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine. It's pretty good. It's fine ultimately.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought that was like an angry, like, fine if you haven't watched it yet.
No.
No.
Judging.
Yeah. Basically, also important, Nathan is sometimes thinking in a language that he doesn't understand.
Oh yeah, it's weird alien stuff
Yeah.
is
He's
He's
happening
having
to
weird
him.
dreams.
Having weird dreams too.
He doesn't seem to let it bother him very much.
No. It's,
I mean, hey, it's dreams. Are they supposed to make sense?
well, the dreams are fine. Thinking in alien language, a little weird.
I feel like, yeah, if one of us has weird dreams, it's like, hey, maybe I ate something I shouldn't have before bed. But like, if you touch an alien artifact and then you start getting weird dreams that pertain to that artifact, like maybe give it a little more time of day.
He's been pretty stressed about like $40,000 in debt.
Oh,
So-
yeah, that's fair.
Might have been
That
having
is-
some pretty bad dreams.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. He should have, as soon as he got powers and started having weird dreams, probably should have drawn some sort of conclusion there.
Yeah. Then he goes to a bar and tries to write there, kind of doing like more writing exercises, like asking himself questions about the story. He goes back to his house and writes some more. I think is he reading the English text that he's writing in the alien language. Is that what's happening?
Well, ultimately, this turns out to be a dream because he also gets
Oh.
attacked by his future self.
Right. You're right.
Oh,
So I think it's just like
that's
the
right.
dream is trying to tell him something that he's writing down, but he still can't recognize the language.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Nathan is the true evil villain.
Yeah. Good point.
Maybe at this point, I don't know.
Yeah. So yeah, he wakes up screaming because it was a really scary dream, and then he sees that there's a notification on his phone. It's from Twitter, and somebody tweeted the Radiant Black account basically asking for help.
And he ended it with, man,
Like, as a
I wish
joke,
Radiant
almost.
Black would be here. LOL.
And like I gotta say, this is a more than this comic problem, and this may be old man shouting at cloud, but I'm not a fan of my heroes having social media integration. This comic does it. The video game version of Miles Morales has a whole app where you contact Spider-Man. It's like I don't like it. I want old-fashioned superhero. Like I want him to swing or fly across a crime and have no idea what's happening.
By happenstance.
Yeah.
Yeah, by complete coincidence.
I really thought like something. The first thing when he was like, "I made a social media account for you," it's like, that's so easy to like figure out where you are based on that. It's like, are you just gonna dox yourself?
Yeah. It's like no VPNs, nothing.
Here's a Twitter account. Also, just at Superman, please save me from his burning building.
Yeah.
So weird. Maybe don't tweet your address at Superman.
To be fair, like, you'd get like 100 messages a day being like, save me. And you're like, oh man, I can't get to all these.
Yeah.
Like, all right, Superman, I understand you're busy, but what if we collaborate on this shoe drop?
Also, what about like the 30 people who are just constantly adding Superman? Like, Superman, they got rid of my favorite ice cream flavor. Please do something about this.
Melt the other ice cream.
Superman flavored ice cream.
Yeah, so ultimately.
That's a real flavor. Anyway.
Oh, it is?
Inefficient
not know that.
method of being
Yeah,
a superhero.
I don't like it.
He like almost breaks their car when he's trying to replace.
Oh, yeah,
tire.
that's the other thing, too. It's like, that
he
is
breaks
like
the jack.
it's like the shorthand for this character is a millennial who never learned like practical skills. Like, okay, I get it. Like, I understood that when we learned he was a failed writer. Like, I knew that.
He was driving for Uber.
Yeah, I got that already. You don't have to also tell me this person doesn't know how to maintain a car. I get
I
it.
thought he was just gonna like lift the car and be like, okay, change it now.
Yeah, same.
But then he flies them there, which like, okay, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, somebody
They
else.
still have the broken
Tires
tire
don't
though.
fly as your and
Yes.
I almost ripped your car apart.
Somebody
by
at
putting
the
the jack
stadium
on
can
wrong.
help you.
Yeah.
At Radiant Black, please pay for my car damage. Please contact my insurance.
Yeah. But I mean, with all that being said, in the funny, he does, while he couldn't find the solution that was like, the more straightforward way, he finds his own solution to the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Which, I
He
think,
lifts the entire car with the people in it and flies them there.
yes.
Which is also just very confident in his own powers, which I did not realize he was so confident in already.
What if there's a time limit? What if like you have 2 hours a night?
You don't think it would take him less than 2 hours to get there?
I don't know. How fast can he fly? We don't know.
What if he tires out? Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I kind of understand the thinking where it's like literally your powers only require your ability to think about it. Like, how much do you think in a day? Like, all the time. You're always thinking,
I thought you were about to say, like, he doesn't use his mind most of the time.
I
Just
can
a
see where
huge
that was coming.
indictment on writers.
Yeah. I do have to say, like, the woman, the dude's wife, who, the family was driving the car and they needed fixing. She's like, oh, everyone has a weakness. I mean, that's what makes us interesting. And I'm just like, yeah.
Right.
Okay, also, the dad was there, and I think the whole reason they couldn't change the tire was because the dad's arm is in a sling.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, his wife is there. What?
He still has a voice to, like, direct them, be like, please don't put the jack right there.
Yeah.
There's no help. Okay, so, like, from that one thing, Radiant Black doing, I think later on in the story, we kind of get the impression that the community sees him as helping. Like, he gets fanboys.
Yeah. Yeah, well, between that and the money being returned to the bank. Like, I think that they're able to kind of tie those things together a little bit.
I guess that would be exciting if that happened in, like, our town.
Yeah.
Small towns.
But this is is this Chicago?
Yeah, he returns the money in Chicago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess Lockport might be okay. I see.
Yeah, it's like nearby, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, nearby but small. Yeah. And then Nathan comes home. It's like 2 a.m. and then he actually he goes to bed and then gets back up and starts writing. And he like pretty much writes all morning, and his dad like checks in on him, and yeah, he's doing good at that.
I was wondering why he was like, I'm gonna leave 2 days for writing. I was like, you're gonna be driving your Uber car every day other than that? Like, what, 5 days a week then?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of
But
like
no, he's doing superhero stuff. That's
yeah.
That's why he has only 2 days for writing.
Well, yeah, but also like I did kind of think about that too, where I was like, dang, you're really taking up all of your free time. Like you work and then you go to work.
Mm-hmm.
Weekend. Yeah, more weird dreams. Giant robot thing. And then yeah, Nathan is all like, hey, writing day 2, let's test out these powers, see what I can do with Marshall. And basically he can do a little energy zap. He can also do a big energy zap, especially if it's related to his emotions and if he's really angry.
Or just really emotive.
Yeah.
He really recovered from that girlfriend burn really
Oh
quickly.
yeah, but it was all to help him with his powers.
I would have punched him.
So it's fine if you hit him emotionally below the belt. It's for his powers.
I agree with that philosophy.
Yeah.
No, I don't.
It's just a dirtbag move, and he goes there like 2 minutes into the
He's so
training.
trusting.
Yeah. No.
Not to keep going back to like Superman, but would you taunt Superman like that?
Especially like young, not fully in control of the powers, Superman.
Now I want to know who this person is. They were named. They better come back. Like,
Oh, they're definitely coming back.
yeah,
Which person? Who?
the girlfriend.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
asking for a romance subplot.
I'm not asking
no,
for
I
a romance
don't want
subplot.
it.
I just want
I'm
to
just
see
saying
this
it'll
person. I'm willing to bet they were named. They gotta be coming back.
Also, I feel like the next scene is pretty much the climax of the book. It's like 3/4 of the way. And pretty sudden, they're just walking and talking, and then the person in red shows up and is like, let's talk to Nathan. And by let's talk, they mean let's fight.
In a coffee shop.
Yeah.
Yeah, let me threaten you into not coming back after me again.
Right.
Hey, don't come after me again.
And it couldn't be
Shows
just
up.
like, I mean, ultimately we learn later why they couldn't just like go to a different town. and just rob banks there. But
Why couldn't they? They can fly.
That's true.
it's also true.
It was not like this is a permit to only rob banks in this area.
I mean, it's not even a permit to rob banks.
Anyway,
Yeah, could have just done different crimes somewhere else. Go
Yeah.
to,
Also-
Chicago's pretty centrally located. Go rob banks in Michigan.
I think we already kind of subtextually kind of said this,
I don't think so.
but like,
How long are we going to do
For
this
me to
bit? Like, we
say
don't
something.
know.
I'm sorry. Just go ahead, Samantha.
just like, you made me lose my train of thought.
My bad.
Something to do with red. I was about to call them the Red Power Ranger. Okay, that's it.
Oh, the
yeah. So
radiant
literally
red.
during the conversation, as they're like fighting in the coffee shop, the red character is like, "I know where you live. I could make bad things happen to everybody involved. Threatening his parents. Why didn't you send him a threatening letter then?" Just like fighting in mid-town in these outfits.
See,
I don't know, trying to strike the delicate balance between like beating him up enough to threaten him, but not enough, I guess, to cripple him or actually hurt anybody. I guess.
I was just saying,
Which has
like,
no way
if
of
you don't-
like proving that or like making that not happen if you're doing this superpower fight. By complete luck, nobody gets hurt.
have the fight. Why did you have the fight? You don't want more conflict from this person, so why did you seek them out again
see,
and then fight them?
the actions speak louder than words. A strongly worded
Why
letter
are you
does
talking
not.
at all if actions speak louder than words.
A strongly worded letter does not have the same oomph as punching you through the sky. Just putting that out
Why
there.
do it in public?
Oh, you're right. You're right. The person in red should have just gone to his house. You're right.
And punched him.
Yeah. Okay.
I know where you live, hence why I'm here.
Or give his parents like just really bad bruises.
No, I thought you were gonna say like tell on him to his parents. Do you know what your son is doing?
He's in cahoots with me, a bank robber.
But we need Howard.
I feel like his mom would be the kind of mom
lie.
that would be like, never.
But the police told me he's a good person.
Plant evidence and like pretend that you're accomplices in bank robbery.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, man, that's such a better idea than what they end up doing.
Did you see what I mean? Where it's just like it's such a brute force method of like
Yeah.
fight in public.
Again,
There's
I will say,
It's like kind of the worst option, in my opinion.
oh yeah, a big superhero punch up right in the middle of town in the middle of day.
What are we, school bullies? Like fight me after school in front of everybody?
I mean, to be fair, this person does seem like that. Just a little in their
She goes
feelings.
way to bully people. Like we know who this is within a
Oh,
few pages.
yeah.
The thing is, I feel like this has to happen for the setup for the twist
plot.
that occurs.
Yeah.
But for
I
the
mean, that's
plot,
fair.
you're saying that we need these to happen a
Yes,
certain way,
this-
not because the characters matter.
No, not about the characters.
Okay, Jake.
It's about the swerve.
Jake. Okay, would it have been better? Oh wait, okay, hold on. Let me first. Okay, would you be in favor of this person going to his house?
Yes.
Okay, and so if everything happened that way, and the twist happened, you'd be okay with that?
Well, but then how does the twist happen? Because like the one-story
Destroy-
house they got him doesn't have the same effect as like a 4-story
No,
like building falling on
The,
him.
the way I imagine it is that they don't know their strength, and so they hit a little too hard.
Maybe. Yeah. That could be better.
Okay.
If you still want to do the swerve, because I do feel like that was
I think people can be hurt from, having a house collapse on them.
Fair.
a pretty small house compared to what we
Fine,
ultimately
give their
see.
parents a mansion.
But
It's
then
the
why are
only
student
way.
loans a problem at all?
We spent all our money on this mansion. We can't help you, Nathan.
Okay, there we go.
Anyway,
Or people can have a mansion too, you know.
I
Did
most
they?
We're not gonna get into this.
yeah, I mostly agree with Talon that the person in red is very headstrong about problems and doesn't really think them through totally, just kind of more of a
So
take
did
what I
she
want.
just like wake up and she was like, I need to hunt that guy down, and then she just attacked him wherever she saw him? Or do you think she was walking across the street and she's like, hey, that's
Ooh.
him?
I think it was a plan. It was premeditated for sure.
Does that
Yeah,
mean she was
'cause-
stalking him for a while? Did she have a spidey sense across the city and was like, there he is. He's
I
over
can
there.
feel the
And
other
then
radiance.
tracked him down.
Nah, I think probably some minor stalking involved.
Well, like he's like, you know, you got the social media, so maybe
Right. Yeah.
they did some internet sleuthing.
It doesn't matter. It'll never come up.
Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Why
how
she-
she?
I mean,
how
to
they
be
found
fair-
out will never matter.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What matters is their fight goes bad and the building starts to collapse. The huge coffee shop they're in, actually.
Yeah. It's like
It's multi-leveled.
it might be a
Very large for like a suburban town. Like this is a thing. All right, I looked it up. Lockport is a small town on the outskirts of Chicago.
Wait, it's a real place?
Yeah.
Yes,
Whoa.
Lockport is a real place.
Okay.
I don't know if it looks like the comic representation, but it is the name of real place at least.
Okay.
I don't think it can support this huge coffee shop in the and also wherever Marshall works, which is some weird combination of video rental store
Blockbuster.
and bath accessory store.
I feel like it just happened to sell like bath bombs, like novelty bath bombs.
Novelty movie themed bath bombs.
Yeah. Like
Well, that's
it
what
like-
novelty means, yeah.
what?
Specific.
They have
to
Twitter,
that topic.
but they also have Blockbuster.
Like it's just I don't know what kind of town this is that has so many super niche businesses.
Don't worry about it, Jake.
Like I understand, like it's a comic, don't think about it. Like don't try to apply real world economics to this comic book world. But like it's right outside Chicago. It is not like a super affluent area. I don't think it could support all these like and video rental's a dying business anyway. He's renting out physical versions of old movies.
Do you remember the movie that he said?
The one with
Oh, when he's
Michelle
talking to
Pfeiffer.
that
Yeah.
guy in the coffee
Yeah.
shop or coffee shop.
I remember
It was
so-
Harrison Ford and
Yeah.
Michelle Pfeiffer.
I don't remember that movie. I remember the other guy talking about Sophie's Choice.
Gotcha. Well, that movie is actually, I looked it up, is actually a real movie.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, wait.
Yes.
Oh, because it was directed by Phil Coulson's actor.
Right.
That
Yeah.
was,
Greg Clark.
yeah.
Anyway.
I was like, that's
Are you
cool.
discovering movies today?
We're really getting stuck in the weeds here
No.
on this. I'm sorry. I really pulled us off on the highway here.
We're
No, I
still in the summary.
I was like, is that a real movie? And apparently it is.
Basically, Talon is amazed that they used real things.
Yes. Okay. So they actually used like actual
That you don't
superhero
know
characters
Sophie's
in,
Choice.
like they used movies, like actual movies, and then actual real superhero names. I'm
Yeah.
like, can you do that?
Yeah, why not?
Trademark?
Well, we're not going to get into it. Yes, you can.
They're not using the image
Yeah.
of Superman. They're just using the name.
Yeah. You can mention other people and other brands and
But why can't they use Uber? Why did they use driver?
Technically, they can,
Okay.
but I think that's something that's come up. But like I've seen people talk about. Technically, you could say McDonald's. There is also the portion where like if you show the brand in a certain way, like oh McDonald's is super bad food or something, then that is
yeah.
where it starts to come into like. So usually when you use it in your plot or whatever.
So they probably didn't use Uber because the main character, all he talks about is how much it sucks to drive for
Stopping
this
in his
company.
car when one of his passengers comes in.
And he doesn't make any money driving for them. And yeah, it's awful. Okay,
Okay,
yeah,
I
so
see.
probably don't use Uber.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Anyway, man, that was a big.
The exciting part of the story happens now, which
Yeah.
we keep dancing around because we get caught.
So yeah, big fight. Building starts to collapse. Oh yeah, I guess that's also like kind of like interesting use of Radiant Black's powers is that he's able to use like little energy beams that like can hold up the buildings for a little while, but not for long.
He convinces the red character to help him try to hold up the building and
Yeah.
while people are escaping, but it's not able to last. Building falls on him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So.
And basically his last thing is like using like an energy bolt to like push out people and including the radiant red. And then yeah, the building falls on him and Marshall comes running, gets like, throws bricks and rocks off of him, and he's also like, kind of in this dream state, kind of like talking to this robot that is reminiscent in color pattern to Radiant Black. And it's talking about like, will you die?
Are you willing to die
yeah.
to save the human race?
No. I think it was
Well,
also, are you willing
so
to kill?
Okay,
Yeah.
wasn't the question more along the lines of, are you willing to kill the person who is
Yeah.
going to
Mhm.
destroy the human race?
Yes.
And Nathan's such a good person. I sound so mean. Such a good person. He says no. He's not
Yeah.
interested in killing.
Mhm.
He has his morals or whatever.
Yeah.
Now Marshall doesn't.
Yeah, basically, yeah. So he's
He
like
has no
not breathing
compunction.
at first, and then the black hole leaves Nathan's body, and Marshall reaches out and touches it.
So I think there's a connection there that's supposed to be drawn between Nathan rejecting killing the person who's going to destroy the human race. He's unwilling to go the full step of killing that. And because of that, it's almost like the powers get rejected from him
Mm-hmm.
and go to the next closest person, Marshall.
Yeah.
And Marshall gets asked the same question, are you willing to kill to save the human race? And Marshall's like, yeah.
Gotcha. Marshall of Sector 2814. You are full of will.
No.
You are willing to kill someone. Here are the powers with which to do so.
Yeah.
That was a Green Lantern joke if our audience didn't get that.
So yeah, basically, the paramedics are trying to resuscitate Nathan. Marshall just kind of barges in there too, is like, and
It
starts
pushes his face out of the way.
Yeah, pushes one of the police officers in the face, and then like starts like, basically like calling out to his friend like, "Don't die on me," all that stuff, and then like basically starts breathing, but the paramedic is like, "Yeah, I still could have like lost a lot of brain function, and like we don't know if he's gonna make it. This is just a good first step, but like lots of stuff could happen." And so yeah, then he goes into an alleyway, turns into Radiant Black, kind of like tries
And
to
is seen leaving the scene.
yes. Oh, I didn't
Which
even
makes
catch who that
which makes
person
everybody online question Radiant Black seen, leaving after person is sent to hospital because of his fight.
Yeah.
And everybody's like, how could Radiant Black do that?
was. Yeah.
I actually looked up those people's names because I was like, well, are they real? I don't think they're real, but that was disappointing.
They should have just done the authors' names.
Yeah, that would have been fun.
Little self-insert.
Yeah, then so yeah, he's at the hospital. Nathan's parents get there. And then he decides to go and confront the Radiant Red. And they fight. They fight
He's
across
ready to
the
kill.
city. Yeah, he's ready to kill. puts him into a iced over lake, probably. You think that's a Great Lake? Maybe. Anyway, I won't stick
Could
on
be.
that.
Probably Michigan if it is one of them.
Yeah.
But
And then, oh yeah, he gets a cool cape for some reason.
It's like you died before you got to see my cool cape, but Red isn't dead.
Yeah, and Radiant Red has like a giant suit of armor.
Because they can transmute matter. I don't know if we've said that, but Radiant
We
Red
did.
can like transform matter into whatever.
Yeah.
And so them being in water, it's like, bro, I got all this matter.
Mm-hmm. And then yeah, Marshall
Air
is
matter.
like, what?
yeah,
Is
it
it?
does. Yeah, it does occupy space. So yeah, it would technically be matter.
Yeah.
Okay,
Maybe
let's
it's harder
finish up this
depending on-
summary.
Yeah.
Maybe it's different depending on like the phase of matter. Is that the correct term?
It seems like you get better armor if you use better materials. You use steel and you get like more steel armor. You use air, you're just gonna get air armor, which like I don't know how hard you can make air, but
Gotcha. You can get armor for steel.
nah.
Ooh, nope. Send that one back to the workshop. You're gonna want to work on that one for a little bit longer.
Hey, you can't win them all.
Leave that one in the oven next time. All right.
Anyway, yeah, so giant suit of armor beaten down on Marshall. Helmet is cracked, and then he's like sees his like, you know, Nathan like, you know, in his mind's eye, like, you know, dead in like the rubble of the building. He's like, die, and like uses a giant energy blast on Radiant Red, and it turns out that Radiant Red is a woman, which like based on the costume design we just aren't supposed to assume.
Whoa, man.
Okay.
You're gonna want to send that one back too. That's not enough.
Yeah. In fact, that one I didn't even understand what you were saying at first, and then I got it. It took me a
Hey,
second.
you got it. It doesn't matter.
Anyway,
Although I do like, and by do like I mean don't like how that is immediately disproven immediately after the next page when the two other radiant colors show up, and one of them is obviously a woman.
Yep.
So why'd that costume do that the whole time?
No, because the transmuting matter, right? Right.
But even when it's like normal, like skin tight suit, you know what I mean? It still looks like a guy.
It looks
That's
like
the
a
point,
like a
right?
Joel Schumacher like muscle suit.
yeah.
Actually, that would have been. Okay, wait. They should have totally had it be like you're saying, Talon. I guess, where it's super muscular, like way too. So it ends up being it was a muscle suit. Yeah.
Like yeah, like if that's how they wanted it, like sure, that's just how all the costumes look. But then having the other female character show up, who's like obviously a woman, like show up immediately after we just learned the character who I guess everybody assumed was a guy the whole time because it looks like a guy. Then show up, it's like again just for the swerve, like it doesn't matter.
Yeah, and it must be within her control because I like jumped ahead a few pages to like essentially the next issue is the origin issue for Radiant Red, and
Yeah, and she looks like that for the bank robberies.
yeah,
Like
or wait, for
She looks like what?
Radiant Red doesn't always have like the more muscular male figure,
yeah,
but she does for the bank robberies.
yes, okay, that is. I was making sure that our observations were matching up. I was a little confused, but
Gotcha.
yeah, that is exactly.
Yeah, like I said, it probably has to do with her whole transmuting matter thing.
That's
It's
fair.
just another armor. But I think it should have looked way more bulky then.
Yeah. I agree. If that is
Whatever,
the
we
case,
all need a trim figure, I guess.
I guess. But yeah, so basically, like Jake said, out from a portal which is pink colored, so I assume it's the pink character's power.
Fair.
The comes Radiant Yellow and Radiant Pink. And they're all like, hey, there's a guy, and he's like, really powerful. We've been trying to like hit him and he didn't care at all. So we need your guys' help, and it doesn't matter that you're fighting each other right now. You just need to help us. And then
Like,
there's
the stakes rise really out of nowhere.
yeah, yeah, they do. And then there's the bad guy. He has
No color.
a samurai sword, two samurai swords. They're like super like digital effect, and he can also teleport. It looks like.
Is he
Yes,
the
yeah.
one that's called Radiant? Do you think?
I don't know if he's called Radiant.
Because I thought that in Nathan's dreams they were like, "Well, are you gonna kill Radiant?"
Yeah, I think they definitely give him a name in the dreams. I'm not sure if it was Radiant though.
Gotcha.
I'm not gonna look back through. I thought about it for a
I,
second.
yeah.
Yeah, and then right when they're like, kind of at the peak of danger, because the four of them have just now found each other for, and two of them are like at odds, and there's this big bad villain. And then it is the origin issue of Radiant Red, which has, basically, what's her name? It's
Otomi?
Satomi, yeah.
Right.
And her fiance Owen, they're having dinner with Satomi's family, and they're basically like, oh, you guys are so good together, you're gonna be so successful, blah blah blah. And then
And then it turns pretty somber because they're all jovial,
Yeah.
with the parents. But then when they're in the car, they're like all serious.
very serious, yeah. But like still like kind of like, there is still like some like at first like on the facial reactions I was like, oh, they're like putting on a front, they're not actually
They're not even interested in getting married.
yeah. But then I, based on the dialogue, I was like, oh, okay, they're still a little bit like interested in each
Yeah.
other.
It's more like a rough patch right now.
Yeah. But then there's a guy standing in their driveway, talks to Owen. Satomi goes and waits inside, and basically it comes out that Owen has like massive gambling debt, and that he like was supposed to have stopped gambling already, and he's only been gambling more, and he's further in the hole.
I mean,
Yeah,
I
was the
stopped
guy like a debt
for a little bit.
collector, right?
Yeah, debt collector, exactly. And yeah, so they kind of fight about it, but they're like, yeah, we'll figure it out, and then
We have to use my funding for grad school. We will.
yeah.
That, bank account's there. And Owen's like, no, never. You're going to go to grad school.
Is this the scene where the dude's like, "Wait, don't leave"?
No, that's later.
Okay, all right.
That's later. Yeah, then Satomi can't sleep. She goes to Owen's business office, and like basically looks through the papers and is all like, oh, this is like really bad. And then the red black hole, I don't know, the thing that gives powers.
I was gonna say the other thing, but no, that doesn't
Yeah.
work either.
The thing that gives Radiant Red her powers, in the same fashion that Radiant Black gets his powers, falls from the sky, and I think it hits her actually. Like basically, it hits the ground and like crumbles the ground, so she like falls. But then she reaches out and touches it, and so yeah, she is able to suit up. Oh, that was actually kind of cool. I didn't notice when I was first reading. Because she's falling into a hole, she is able to not sustain any injury because she like basically like armors up her foot that lands by absorbing the ground that is as she lands on it. Um, yeah. And then basically because we already know things about Radiant Red, we assume she's in the parking lot of a bank and she's like talking herself up. So we're like, oh yeah, she's definitely about to rob this bank.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then she goes in asking for a loan, and the loan officer is like, yeah, you guys are in too much debt. You have too much of a bad history. Can't possibly give you a loan. And she's all like, well, Owen is pretty bad, yeah, but I'm pretty good. And then the loan officer is like, yeah, your grad school account has nothing in it. It's been drained already. And we see a forged signature.
Which calls back to earlier in the car when she's like, did you forge my signature for the Christmas card? And he's like, yeah. And she's like, thanks. I wish I had time to sign it.
I did not know that. Yeah, I didn't catch that. Good on you.
Yeah, that was good foreshadowing. Okay. So yeah, then she gets really mad at Owen when he gets home. It's like, where's the money? Puts a crack in the wall by punching it.
She does.
Yeah. And like Owen is like, about to be like, oh, this is all your fault, really, And then
he does the whole like, wait, you get to the part where she's like, use my account. Oh wait, okay. There's a part where she was like, am I confusing two different? I think I'm confusing two different things.
Okay. Yeah. Well, yeah. Basically, she's all like, "Don't try to make this like my fault. You've gotten us into this mess, And so I'm gonna leave." And then he's all like, "Wait, don't go. You're right. Blah blah blah. And I can't do this without you."
Which honestly feels like a dirtbag move.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. Oh yeah.
I maybe he's genuine. It doesn't feel like it.
I don't know. He's just lied too much. I'm like,
yeah.
It is very typical, of hardcore addict behavior, where it's like I have lost everything, pretty much of my own accord, because even though I know I should stop gambling, he's going to continue gambling, because the only way out at this point is I just got to win big. I've got to keep going back, and keep going back to the well, except the well's dry, and then keep lying and push people away. So he probably does recognize he does need help, but also doesn't want to go get help.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that not to psychoanalyze these characters too much, but I'm like, I feel like, this is just asking to be used, more than actually getting help. But yeah, so then Satomi basically resolves to fix the problem and rob the bank that denied them the loan. And so she does, and she has a bunch of cash, and that's the end.
Can we assume that bank robbery is the same bank robbery that Radiant Black intercedes in?
Yeah, she's doing multiple bank robberies.
Yeah.
Yet.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because I assume that they still have that. Why would you be driving around with the cash that you stole? Just keep that somewhere, So I assume that the one.
Oh, right, because she returns the stuff to Owen is figured out. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, which, man, you have two duffel bags of cash, and I assume those are $100 bills. How much more do you
suspicious
need?
at all.
You can really only pay off your illicit debts with that money.
Those are kind of the most important, right?
You got to pay off the knee breakers.
Although to be fair, I feel like if they did try to pay it off with all that money, they'd be like, "How did you do that? We're gonna rope you in now."
The mob does not care how you got the money. It's just that you have the money.
I don't know. It's like, if you can get this amount of money, you could work for us.
There has been good stories built out of that, right? Wait, you have money. How do you get more money?
Right.
And then they never stop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the greater part is you can't pay off your home loan with that money.
Wait, why not?
Because you're paying it off with the money
IRS.
from the bank robbery. And yeah, you don't have any new sources of income.
Oh, so they're
Where'd
gonna
you
fight.
get that money? Where'd it come from?
Oh,
You didn't have
okay.
any family who died. Where'd it come from?
Note to self: never let Talon touch the unmarked bills.
I am not advocating bank robbery. I'm just
I didn't
trying
say
to
they
think.
came from a bank robbery.
Oh, okay. I feel like that was implied, but okay.
Anyway, so that's the summary.
There
That's
are
the
other
first 6
methods of
issues.
income, Talon. than bank robbery. Gambling, for example.
That's true.
So
Don't gamble.
what are some things that you guys liked about this book?
So the panel where like all of them, like that dude shows up
Which
and
dude?
slices them all.
Oh, okay. The evil dude.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool because like I even felt like jarred. Like it was like if you're looking at a TV and it gets all like
Pixelated.
pixelated. Mm-hmm. And so
So
like
you liked some of those glitchy effects they
Yeah.
had.
yeah, but that panel in particular was like whoa. I enjoyed that.
Cool. Yeah. I'll say that this is my double-sided coin of the episode. The decompression made it really fast to read. It was like we spent a long time on that summary, but that's because we really went into detail.
Yeah.
We really could have said, all right, he's in debt, he moves in with his parents, he gets powers, he tries to write stuff, and then
He starts helping out around the community. Including stopping a bank robber who happens to look very similar to him with similar powers, sort of. And then person comes back after him. Nathan almost dies.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And Marshall, his best friend, gets his powers and seems to be a more morally interesting character.
Yeah. And then introduction of new teammates and the big bad, and then bonus origin for Radiant Red.
I did like the origin story for Radiant Red. I think that was
I like how
neat.
it ties in with Nathan's story.
Also like that, Nathan is a very like morally like kind of unflinching person despite being in kind of a bad place, and then Marshall shows up to be a mostly dirtbag.
Yeah. No, actually,
At least like when it comes to heroes, like I'm sure he's like a fine enough guy, even though he's like itching for a fight with the police, like immediately, even though he is the one who's being drunk and disorderly.
He cares about his friend, and as he
Willing
said,
to kill.
his friend is a better person than him.
Yeah, so I did like that, and like in addition to that is like even though it seems like Nathan doesn't die, the story doesn't go like, oh, so he's fine. It's like,
Yeah.
he could have brain damage. He hasn't been breathing for like 8 minutes. He's
Yeah.
probably not fine.
Also, even if he wakes up again, I don't think he's getting those powers back.
Oh no,
That's rough.
absolutely not.
He rejected the call.
yeah, unless, like we said, that evil version of Nathan was a prophetic dream. And
They have to bring that back. They can't not bring that back.
yeah, basically the brain damage was all of his good brain.
Ooh.
Oh, that would be too
Ooh. Okay. I'm down for that. I'm down.
story.
Coma patients waking up evil.
Like we've seen some like narrative convenience for the story. That would be too much. Like only the good Nathan died. Only evil Nathan remains.
Well, no. So he'd be like, I don't even know. He would be like, that day Nathan died. I am now taking over.
Oh, I hate writing.
Yeah. Anyway, we'll just have to see.
That's funny.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
yeah.
I like the story overall. I enjoyed the, just the idea of like this guy just stumbling upon this thing and then figuring out like how to use it, and then twist, there's someone else just like him. And then like another twist, oh, he dies, friend takes over. Like I just find that I just like that.
Yeah.
It's really interesting that they keep Nathan alive, because I thought they really were just gonna kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, we shouldn't back away too much, or at least I won't, that what a twist, to have, your main character like basically just completely shift 3/4 of the way in, you know? Like,
yeah, I usually expect that to happen sooner, and for them to try to really gut punch where he's like trying to do something super heroic for people, like saving a kitten or something.
Well, I
And
mean,
then nearly dying.
he did try to stop a building from falling, or at least get people out of the building.
Anybody can do that.
Oh, okay.
Wow, the minimization, the heroics.
Wow.
Do you agree with me that it would be more of a gut punch if he was doing something super?
like getting a cat out of a tree?
I don't know, something super morally upstanding. I don't know, saving children from a burning building. I don't know.
I kind of see it's like the Spider-Man saving the train, in Spider-Man 2 or whatever. Like, something that's like he has to. It's very sudden that he dies or almost dies.
Well, also, usually they do it where it's like a really good moment where it's like, I saved them. Like, oh my God, the heartwarmingness of thank you for saving us, and then gets sucker punched out of the earth.
Right, yeah.
Okay.
I can kind of see what you're saying.
I don't know if I would have necessarily.
Point that would be better. I don't know.
See, like, I see where you're coming from in more of like the, having more of an emotional like scene into it. But I don't know if that would have I don't think changing what he was doing would make that better. I think it would have been cool, like I think you were saying, of like having that that moment where he's like holding up this building, and then the people on the outside are like, "Thank you," and then he's like, "Yeah," and then something like that.
So cheesy. I'm sorry.
I would have loved that though. Crush you right when you think you're doing okay.
Oh man, I have someone's face in my head that did something like that. I can't remember now.
All right.
It is also very convenient. It's like the powers decided to leave him because he won't murder, even though he did just save all those people. It just happens to be.
I do love that part though.
Is that what happened?
Too.
It's like, why do you ask the question right then? Why not wait?
Didn't ask him that the night before too.
Yeah,
I thought it was.
It's a weird, like, it is a narrative convenience basically, but because it's like the whole thing is that it's like it's trying to basically relate its language to English, and so that like it's like trying to figure out like how it works and stuff like that, and then finally at this very moment, it's like, okay, we've adapted the language, so now we can communicate with you.
I mean, since we're still in the things we like, I will say I liked the fact that he rejected that. He's like, no, I don't want to kill somebody just because they're bad. And it's like, oh, well, you suck, so we're leaving. Like, I don't like not even going into the fact of when it happens, but I just like the fact that he rejected it versus very clear contrast with Marshall, who's like, yeah, I'll do it. Give me a gun.
He's, yes, I will kill.
Yeah, I really thought that where they were going to take it was that Marshall was like envious that he didn't get the powers.
Yeah,
I would have hated
evil.
that.
Yeah.
I'm glad they didn't do that. There's
Because
a lot of like.
They hinted at that, I thought, because they were like, oh, like, did you ever think about what would happen if you got the powers? And I was like,
this does
I don't
like a lot
where this is
of
going.
basic superhero stuff anyway. With like, oh, the powers are based on the emotions, and if you get angry, you can do more. Like that would have been a step too far.
Mm-hmm.
Like if we get like supporting character is jealous of main character.
Yeah.
Also, there's not a ton of supporting characters.
Yeah.
There's just Marshall, kind of.
Yeah.
So that would have really sucked if his one other character was like jealous.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is actually true. Well, actually, I guess I'll talk about that later. But yeah, there's not a lot of supporting characters, and I didn't.
I mean,
really think
it's
about that.
stuck to its main thing. It's very clear on what's going on
Mm-hmm.
and what's gonna happen next. I'll say, yeah, I said this already, I like Satomi's link up with his story.
Mm.
As far
Story
as-
about bank robber,
Okay.
and then her, being a bank robber.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean
I was
his?
expecting her husband to die.
Yeah. Okay, I see what you mean now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I did pick up on that. I just didn't. I wasn't understanding until you really said it. But yes,
I was expecting her husband to die.
Yeah. That's fair.
I was like, Nathan just accidentally writing about the other person.
Yeah. I mean, I was just.
This is his previous short story, so.
Yeah. I was just assuming that, basically once they got to know each other better, he was going to make the novel about her.
That would be interesting.
He's just going to,
Wait, now.
start from scratch. No.
Yeah.
I will say, I also, I mean, probably very mundane to other people. Of course, I loved watching Nathan work through character motivation stuff for his story. I was like, wait, I'm doing that right now. Relatable.
Yeah.
It is like the exact thing you do is
Yeah.
writing a story. You're like, what is the story about? You're like, damn it, I don't know. Why do I want to write it so bad?
Yeah. Yeah, and like the negative self-talk, in the thought bubbles, like when he's like really down on himself, like that was some good characterization.
See, okay, so I was thinking about that, and you notice that there's like a blue aura around those thoughts, and I was like, it seems like there's another part of Nathan that's more evil, not like in like
An
normally
influence that's
Yeah.
kind of like
he's being
Okay.
influenced by the alien thing or whatever it is. Yeah.
Is this secretly a symbiote story?
Are you saying
Do this
that Nathan has become a better writer because of his radiant black powers? He wasn't able to write before he got the powers.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh,
I did actually have
That's-
that thought. Yeah.
that's
That'll be
the story
dumbest
with
thing.
with the future Nathan is like, yeah, once I embraced these powers, I became a better writer, but then decided writing
My
sucks.
romance novel line.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll only know if it turns out later that Marshall also becomes a better business owner.
I was going to say, is Marshall to be like the best video suggester in Blockbuster?
Then we'll know for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, giving out these movies is a breeze now.
Well, okay.
I actually treat my customers with respect.
That's not going to happen.
So I actually like, I guess in a way it's a symbiote-ish because like I saw it as like, oh, the alien is actively like taunting him, like I have disdain for you, human, kind of thing. And so
Like still give them the choice of like, are you willing to kill? If yes, then you can keep the powers. If not, then you lose the
We're not
powers.
going to
But
even
it's-
kill you. We're just going to leave.
yeah, it doesn't like
It kind of did kill you by accident.
But it doesn't like try to influence them. It's like, man, it'd be so cool, and your problems would all be solved if you just killed people. Why won't you kill people?
Well, kill the specific person. It is not inciting bloodlust in him.
Yeah.
It's going, can you kill the evil villain that's being set up for you?
hey
Like,
Jake,
there's an evil villain over there. He's like, I'm not going to kill. They're like, lame, leaving.
I just like you saying bloodlust made me think of Arrow, and so
Don't remind me of
Are you
that.
saying Arrow is a bloodbath that I'm missing out on?
No,
I refuse to believe that.
bother.
This is a part of Arrow that some may deem dumb.
That might be. That's still. Oh,
like
when it
all
comes
of
to
it.
like, network TV storylines, bloodlusted character not in control of their actions and driven to murder is like up there for some of the worst.
All right. Enough about Arrow, because I don't know what you're talking about.
Well, I mean, it's very much like the Lazarus Pit, so it makes sense.
Yeah, it still sucks.
All right.
It's
Anyway.
when it's in Batman too. When it's this character's come back
Oh,
to the
really?
Lazarus Pit, but they're not in
mean-
control of their actions. Like it sucks. It always sucks.
Oh, okay.
So for Radiant Black, I'm trying to summarize what I liked about it because we do need to move on soon.
Yeah.
I guess just, like I said, the contrast between Marshall and Nathan is kept very clear. I don't feel like Marshall ever changes his mind about being antagonistic to everybody he comes across.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like we said, he doesn't fall into this popular pitfall of just being a jealous character.
Yeah.
He is kind of his own character, which helps, especially when he gets the powers and becomes the main focus.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that I kind of liked, I can definitely see the ways that this was compared to Invincible. I like, a somewhat more realistic take than like, big two superheroes for this. I wouldn't say like, I mean, neither Invincible nor this is like incredibly realistic, right?
I don't know. Nathan doesn't go out and start like immediately fighting crime. Like the one thing he does is take on a bank robber
Right.
and then help with a flat tire.
Yeah, it does seem like this is this universe's first superhero kind of thing, like other than in media,
I'm pretty chill about it.
Yeah. Yeah, I guess they're a little chill about it. I don't know. I feel like
It does also happen very quickly.
Yeah.
There's not like a whole lot of time for them to like consider the ramifications of these characters influencing like a bunch of natural forces like gravity and matter and the electromagnetic spectrum
Yeah, and portals.
I don't even know about that.
and portals.
Yeah, which I like also.
I would argue that their first reaction as human beings with that short amount of time should have been distrust, right? The only other person we've heard about has also started robbing banks.
That's
yeah,
fair.
I guess I can see.
Yeah, but so far that's only 25% of them have become criminals. So it's fine.
I don't know that. There's two. To them, there's two people.
That's 75% fine.
50%.
I guess it's 50% of the ones they know, but one half of the 50% is fighting the other 50%. So like the problem is solved itself.
Before they tell him to go out and do something good, they're like, by the way, there's someone who looks like you who sucks.
But that's
I'm
after
sure
it
you're a
just
good guy, though.
started.
Exactly. Which why wouldn't the first thing they'd be like, hey, don't use your powers again.
Oh,
That was
the
weird.
problem presented itself, and then the solution presented itself. They take care of each other. It's fine.
Yeah.
Wait,
Okay.
Cody, were you still talking about stuff you liked?
Kind of. I will say, just to end on your point, basically, that I do understand where you're coming from a little bit. Like the people that he helps in the car, they're all like, "Oh, I thought you were just one of those like, cosplay vigilante people, like a real life superhero," which those have existed, in real life. But you're the real deal. You just flew in here, and that's a little weird of a reaction,
Yeah.
Like
Does
when
that
I
just
think
mean
about
that they thought they were like adding on Twitter a cosplayer?
Well, more than a cosplayer, somebody who still helps their community, but is just a normal person, basically.
But they did add LOL, which could say that they didn't think he was like that real.
Do
yeah.
Do
My
you
dad
think
was
that AAA and other like, car services would get more support if they showed up in costumes.
Yes.
No.
Unsure.
Like, would you be more willing to call your insurance or a tow truck if they showed up in costume and like pretended to be Batman the whole time?
A good
No.
costume? Yes.
Oh.
A bad costume? No.
The mental instability. I trust them less.
What if it was corporate policy?
Right.
It's like they didn't decide to show up
They
and like
just
be the
decided to work
Flash.
there.
Like that is like they will not get paid if they don't follow the script of being the Flash.
I expect my
Yeah, I
tires to
feel
be
like
fixed.
the more you pitch this, the less I am in support.
What? Come on.
Girl outfit, I guess. Just do it. It's the same, right? That is what it is. It's the same in my mind.
Wait, what
Do
is?
you see why I don't trust it?
Did you say
Yeah, now with that, then I understand.
a cat
Okay.
girl outfit? That's what you said?
Cat girl outfit.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. No, I can see it.
Okay.
I can see that appealing to a certain
The Batman.
demographic,
Yeah.
I'm
but
not a cat girl. I'm the Batman. You guys don't understand. I'm here to tow your truck.
now I
I'm
understand
lost.
that statement. I get it. All right.
Yeah, I get it too.
See, okay. I'm not gonna argue.
Yeah.
But to
yeah.
be fair, then it just becomes a more niche market at that point. It's like you have to pay extra for that.
People are gonna be calling without having a truck to tow.
All right, never mind. Yeah, I was.
I hate this that created it. This is
Yeah.
bad. I want it to stop.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Anyway,
Jake started with something pure, and then she went to ruined it.
a man
know,
with
it's
a
gonna
Batman
be-
costume was so pure, and I corrupted it. My job.
Yeah. Anyway, so things we didn't like about this book.
Nothing really major.
They.
Or she went to goes.
Sorry. I'm sorry, Taylor.
No, if
So
you
you were
have something
saying-
major to say, then you go ahead.
I mean, pretty much you were gonna say that you were fine with most of it.
Yeah. So
Okay.
like, there's nothing major. Just I find Owen to be very as a human being.
Owen?
I should hope so.
Satomi's.
Oh, that guy.
Yeah,
I
fiance.
forgot who he was. Yeah, I forgot that name. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, just like dirtbag addict husband.
Yeah. I find him
I was
particularly.
expecting him to like try to hit her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I was just getting that
Oh,
vibe
yeah,
off of him.
that was the last box in like the dirtbag husband bingo card.
Manipulating, guilt tripping, putting her down.
Man.
Yeah.
Could you imagine?
All you're missing is physical violence.
Could you imagine if he hits her and then she just like punches through him back?
Oh,
That's when she punched the wall.
Yeah.
I think that was like, I think it was almost leading up to that
Mm-hmm.
of him hitting her, and then she punches the wall, and he's like, "Oh,
Yeah.
I cannot win in this physical fight."
yeah.
Which was like that. I mean, that's why I loved it when she punched the wall. I was like, "That's awesome."
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Also horrible, like that poor wall.
Yeah.
That's gonna cost money.
Mm.
I would say like if we had to summarize, because I don't want to get too in depth with it yet. On the surface, I don't like the fact that the story felt like it was going a certain way. It was going small town hero, just learning to be a hero, and then it goes, but there's others. But there's a big bad. Like suddenly we're a team. Suddenly it's all this. It just felt like it. Like it's okay to have twists, but also I kind of feel like it's just becoming too big in a way that I'm just wasn't interested in. This isn't what I signed up for. I'm interested in what an interesting story it would be. Marshall getting the powers of your best friend who was a good person, and I personally am not a good person, and now I have to deal with the guilt of getting his powers, and how do I live up to like that? Can I become a good person? Can I rise to the occasion? But now that we have these other characters, it's suddenly we have to have Satomi's backstory, which is okay. Like having another foil like Satomi is interesting, but interesting more to Nathan than to Marshall. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see, obviously, if we read
Yeah.
more. But also just introducing these other characters. Are we gonna have their backstories too? I mean, like, or are they just gonna be minor characters then? Like,
Yeah.
either we're not giving them enough attention, or we're not giving enough attention to this new character Marshall has become, sort of, or has to become.
Well, I will say, I mean, just reading the book, you wouldn't know this, but I looked up on the Wikipedia page. Apparently, this is the start of Image Comics' Massive Verse, which
Name.
yeah, and it includes the titles Radiant Black, Rogue Sun, The Dead Lucky, Inferno Girl Red, Radiant Red, and Radiant Pink.
So you're saying I just read a tie-in thing?
Well, no.
So
this
why
is
isn't
the
it the
start.
Radiant
This
verse?
is the start. This is the start in the main kind of series, I guess.
Yeah, read the rest to get the full story. We're not going to give it to you here, right? Like,
Basically, yeah.
I don't know. I don't see it that way because
I mean, I don't see that necessarily as a bad thing, but I don't think that they'd go so in depth into like the backstory of these characters.
yeah, I think that maybe like when you get to volume 2 of Radiant Black, maybe, it'd be like, okay, there's these other, series that you might want to check out. Then there's like tie-in stuff. But I consider, since Radiant Black is the start of it, that's the main series that isn't a tie-in itself, if that makes sense.
I mean,
It sounds like I made it worse for you, though.
no, I mean, just in general, yeah.
Okay.
Whatever. I like I said, I just like the moral quandary there is really interesting to me, and they're not going to explore it. So, whatever.
I mean,
Power Rangers.
I don't necessarily know if they aren't going to, but I will agree with you that all evidence would point to them not
I don't think
exploring that.
Even if they do explore it, I think it's going to be less effective now because there's all these other characters for focus, and the big bad, like I just feel they moved into the big overarching bad too quickly. Quick, there's someone big and horrible to go fight over here, instead of like dealing with the aftermath of like some of this. Like, if we're gonna let the consequences of this like crazy event to sink in, no, we're just gonna go off and deal with something else.
Yeah. No, I can get that.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that kind of ties into like, basically earlier in parts that I liked, I said that like, decompression made it like, really fast read. It was also like not a lot of stuff happens. And on top of that, suddenly a bunch of stuff happens right at the end.
So
Also, we're made to believe like certain things have been set up, like, Nathan like helping those people with the tire, and apparently he's been doing a bunch of other stuff too, to the point where he has fanboys online who are like commenting on his every move, who are like, this is the only person I talk about.
That's
Radiant Black, and that they feel betrayed by this thing he did. I was like, wait, what? Like, it was just such a quick thing.
No, I can totally see that. In my head, I was like, with how much I've seen, like, YouTubers basically make like 10 videos about 1 to 2 minute teaser trailer. I'm like, they could probably like just 2 instances of him appearing and people like taking video. They could probably like milk like.
But then why are we getting a scene of that? Like, why do we care about these people suddenly feeling like conflicted about him?
Because they represent the general public's opinion, I guess.
And they should, I don't know, go back to the police officers. Wow, we really shouldn't have trusted Radiant Black. Look at what he did.
Well, what would they have said?
Like, I think we need to start an investigation into this. I don't know. He's starting to cause property damage.
Can you do that? Just like walk into a police station and say like, "Hey, this guy sucks."
No, the police officers.
Yeah.
Oh, the police officers do that.
Yeah.
Oh, I
It's
thought
like, instead of introducing new characters
Mm-hmm.
who like we didn't even get a glimpse of before, like should we have gotten like at Radiant Black, I'm a big fanboy, promote my channel, which I talk about only you. I don't
Yeah.
know. It was suddenly like, and you've betrayed us, Radiant Black. It's like, who are you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Mhm.
We are the community.
That's fair. Yeah.
Which I didn't even get to see the community. Like, the family was like, this is cool. And that was it. Like, does his parents even mention, wow, there's a cool new superhero in town?
Nope. Never.
I don't care.
I'm sure his parents are proud of him. Nathan's like, yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, there just doesn't feel like there was a lot of time to, like, show the progression of events. It's
Yeah.
very quick.
And certainly,
fair.
like, as we've mentioned, this is very much supposed to be taking place in, like, quote unquote, the real world. But, like, yeah, not a lot of world building. I mean, there's alien cosmic world building stuff, like, for sure. They even have, like, an alphabet thing in the back of the book that you can, like, you can look back and decode the alien words.
Hey, they did that for the other one that we were.
Yep, they did.
I'm trying to think of what it's called now.
Trillium?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there it is.
Anyway, so
I
yeah,
spent a lot of time on that.
plenty of alien cosmic world building, but not a lot of like building Nathan's world.
Yeah.
Like we said, yeah, not a lot of supporting characters. And I feel like that's what's kind of missing. Like, now the supporting characters are going to be the other Radiants, probably. But, like, we really should have gotten, like, more of Marshall and Nathan's, like, friend group from high school, I guess, or something. Like,
Justine.
Or even just have that character, yeah. It could even had Justine in the distance. Hey, that's Justine. And then
Yeah.
have a brief conversation about her. I think that's important because in order to show the shift in change of their environment based on the events that have occurred. But we're just gonna have like probably Nathan's parents being sad or something. Like we don't get to show anybody else being affected by this, really.
mm-hmm.
There wasn't a world built up to change. It's just a typical town. Like, it's not even that special.
Mhm.
At least there's no discerning, like, identifying
Yeah.
things. I don't know. There's no identity.
Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. I had to think about it, but I agree. I think that it's, for me, I'm like, despite all of these problems, I'm like, I see room for improvement. It's kind of like reading the first volume of Invincible too, like where it takes so long for that twist,
Mhm.
But yeah.
Did we read that part, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
It's just volume 1, right?
Mhm.
Okay.
But yeah, I think that kind of summarizes my problems with it. Not a lot of stuff happens, not a lot of character relationships built out, and yeah, and then like suddenly, the big bad gets introduced and all these other characters that we haven't gotten to be introduced to. Yeah, did you have anything, Jake? Anything else?
One thing I didn't like, and this obviously is not universal, but like the like obsession with like kind of subverting expectations, where it's like there's no reason that Radiant Red like should have to be like that the identity like as a woman like shouldn't be obvious except for like the reveal of like, oh, everybody thought it was a guy, but it was a
Also,
girl.
Like Marshall, I get that. I feel like that implies that Marshall's like gonna try to kill her, and then he's like, oh, long hair.
Well, yeah, I guess I didn't think about that, but that's also
was like-
like
Is that the only reason you're not gonna kill her anymore?
That may not be the intent, but that is kind of how it is like portrayed.
It feels like that, yeah.
It's like you could say it's like, oh, he's seeing that it's like a real person under the mask, but
But because
looks
it's been
like
obscured, because this is also the moment where we reveal it's a woman.
Yeah.
It's like,
See, you the part about you're saying it looks like it's a real person on the mask. Like, I thought that's what they were going when Nathan was fighting against her, because you see that there's a crack in her mask, and you see her eye, and it's kind of like shocked or scared, you know?
yeah. Which is like why it's impactful there, but then just kind of weird. What I guess them trying to do it again, but also fitting in the long flowing hair.
like it'd be one thing if that was like the only swerve. It'd be like, okay, that's pretty like standard superhero media like swerve. But then it's like the oh, you thought this character that we've been talking about and like given motivation is the main character. What an idiot. It's this other dirtbag is going to be the main character. This person who we haven't established motivation for.
That's the thing. I'm like, if they're not gonna continue with Nathan at all, they gave him like a lot of time to like build up, but also not enough time. So it's like this weird medium where it almost feels like they were not trying to build him up too much because they knew they were gonna have to switch.
Perhaps.
He still has like
Will
most
we
of the
get
motivation.
continuation of his book? Will we?
But
Give
like,
it a year.
they could have built him up and like really established that, oh, this is a good dude. And then, you know, I think Shawinta was talking about this of like Marshall then taking up the mantle and being like, how do I do that? I'm not this guy. That's like,
Don't see myself as a good person.
Right.
So how do I live up to like that?
yeah.
Which like, yeah, I mean, Nathan should just wake up and continue writing his book in the hospital bed, right? That'll be fulfilling, right?
We'll give him a lot of time to write his book if he cannot move from like the arms down.
Man, if he becomes like the social media manager for Marshall, that would be rough.
Oh,
Yikes. No.
You're not the hero anymore, Nathan.
Yikes.
Yeah, I feel like they're gonna share it. Share the power.
I'll take it
no,
tonight. You
that's-
take it the next night.
No.
like that's the worst possible scenario.
What they would do is they would split the power, so they're half as powerful, but both of them.
The evil dad will come to Nathan's hospital room and be like, "Wake up! I can bring you back to your full potential
Actually,
by making you evil." And Nathan's like, "You know what? Evil sounded bad earlier, but now I'll be evil." And
Actually,
bloodlust.
that makes me think of Supernatural. So I'm down for that.
So immediately, that's the best option, right?
Yeah, you're right.
So you're saying I should write for Supernatural, right?
Well, no,
It's too late.
yeah, it's finished. But you can write for the
Too late.
Winchesters.
Yeah, the freaking spin-off.
This is almost bordering on a CW commercial now.
I'll be
was
the
the
first
commercial?
to say, don't watch it.
Yeah, most of us are trashing it the whole time. How is this a commercial?
Talon keeps bringing it up.
I'm not trashing
Every
Supernatural.
single episode.
I'm not trashing Supernatural. I enjoy it
For
very
kind of every
thoroughly.
time
However-
Taylor brings up the
However,
CW shows.
the
They don't
Winchesters,
have
I'm
enough
not.
money for that.
The Winchesters, I'm not saying that. I haven't watched it, but I don't have high hopes.
Okay, that's an actual show, right?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah, it's a prequel for some reason.
about the parents.
You know the real reason. It's money. Money's
Well, yeah.
the
Well, yeah,
reason.
I know the reason's money, but I don't understand like how that was the like. These are the characters we're gonna like
I
explore
think that
for more
requires them
money.
to make money off of it, right?
Oh, they
Yes,
will.
that is also.
They'll make money.
Anyway,
Anyway, yeah. So I think that probably covers everything on the dislikes.
Yeah.
All very valid, I'll say. Despite not mentioning them myself. Yeah. So artwork.
Mm-hmm.
What'd you guys think?
I thought it was really good. I enjoyed it
I
a lot.
liked it at first and actually did the opposite of grow on me,
All right.
which is kind of weird. I'm not quite sure why. that colorist though, very good colorist. When the colors hit right, they're good.
Yeah. Yeah, I found it easy enough to ignore. Sometimes like fight scenes, especially with the work of the colorist, actually, pretty good. But otherwise, like people talking, I was kind of out of it. Didn't really like it. The way that they drew it. Did really like the guest artist for issue 6, the Radiant Red origin.
Yeah, and that I did not like that much, the art for that. However, I like even more than that, like maybe not. However, so specifically, I didn't like that art mainly a lot because like it's just not my kind of art. But also too, I noticed that they drew hands really weirdly, and then feet. It was like
Yes.
very disproportional.
Weird. Well, it's a style, but I don't like that style. Sometimes like for a very realistic story like this, and just because of what I was so used to with the like entire other issues, it was so jarring. It was almost too soft of a style. I don't know.
See, like I would have kind of expected maybe this is a artistic telling of Nathan's story. That I think would have been fun.
Wow, you guys really were holding on to the connection between the bank robber story and Radiant Red.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, like I said, I did see that. I just didn't. I was like, all right, this is just an origin, has no more connection.
See, so she worked, or no, she didn't work, but the bank that she went to was the MK branch, which was also the branch that his character worked at, that then robbed from.
See, that's what I get for not reading the short story. I skipped it. I see. Yeah, though. I see what you're saying though about like, you know, just like why you didn't like the style, I guess.
Good moments with like the expressions sometimes, but also just some of the timing was weirdly off. Like some of the stuff was really squished together. Like her husband, there's like the one scene where her husband walks in the house and she just immediately goes, "Oh," and starts yelling at him. It's all contained to one scene and he's just like looks down sadly. It's like, what? There's no emotional impact to this.
Yeah. Also, occasionally characters look a little bit like off model from like how they were and I'm talking about the 6th issue.
Yeah.
Their faces look a little bit different from how they were supposed to be established. Like Owen when he's sitting on the couch at the very last page, I'm like, wait, who's that?
Yeah, it's weird. Sometimes things just are, it's a little too noticeable. It's like it's fine sometimes when stuff goes off model.
Also weird like they both have like a single teardrop when they're like fighting and like, you know, it's like a close up. I'm like, whoa, is that guy like possessed or something? Like
yeah. There's only one way to cry. It's with a single tear.
I see it. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I was like, maybe like she has one teardrop in a red background and I'm like, maybe she's possessing him. And so like he's crying. Like that's like basically what I first thought. But then I was like, no.
Gotcha.
Also the bank teller looks kind of weird too. His beard doesn't look like it should be there.
When Nathan had a beard as his future self, I was
okay,
like,
that was a little, I felt a little cheesy. I felt that was cheesy because it was like, oh, my cool, better self obviously has a beard.
I don't think that's supposed to imply that he's cool or better. He's evil. I think it's just supposed to be like,
shorthand. It's unfortunate tale, but it's visual shorthand for evil.
I was gonna say older. It's literally visual shorthand for I am older than you.
I see.
Have a beard. Could you grow a beard?
Gotcha. Although I guess, when I was a kid, I imagined my cooler, better half was a bearded man. And so here I am, cooler and better.
Did you mean to say better half? Or like better self?
Better self.
Okay.
Half of Talon split off.
Yeah, I think the art was fun. I didn't have a problem with it. It was just kind of like stylized. I just, I didn't love the design for Radiant Black, like the costume design itself. I just didn't like it. And they kept showing it to us, and I didn't like it when it was Radiant Red or Radiant Pink or Radiant Yellow either.
Really? Okay.
Like I didn't like it.
Fair. It's simple. I didn't have a problem with it. I liked it enough. Yeah, I guess I just can't get past the way that the characters look on their backgrounds most of the time, and kind
Like
of
when they're far away.
not when they're far away. Just like it feels like I can see the Photoshop layers, right? Like. Like it doesn't seem like one image.
It's not cohesive then,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of the expressions, there's so many lines. They're really like, I don't know. There's just so many lines that I don't like the expressions a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like everything has to be emphasized with a line.
Yeah, that's very true, actually. Especially like I'm looking at the scene where they're testing out the powers on the action figures. I'm like they're like because that's like a lot of expressions going on, a lot of close-ups, and yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's like I don't like that.
Making weird little faces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But that being said, too, like, yeah, I think something about the way that the story was written, it was really easy for me to just be like, just ignore and swipe through,
Gotcha.
Yeah.
But yeah. Is that all we had to say about the art?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I think so. Yeah,
Yeah.
then
I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of weird little, what is it? Cross hatching at times.
yeah.
Just to fill space because they don't have enough space filled.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, very
It's
much.
just
I
gonna-
noticed that too, where it's just like, yeah, you didn't want to draw backgrounds, huh? I mean, with as many people that they had working on this too, it was kind of like lacking in background sometimes. But yeah. Would you guys read more of this?
Yes.
They had just left it at like Marshall, like Nathan's in trouble. I have gotten his powers, and then trying to hunt down Red and not catching up to Red and just having like a little temper tantrum and being like, I'm gonna hunt down Red next time and I'm gonna kill them, and just ended there. I would have been like, oh. I mean, that's literally what he kind of wants to do, right?
Yeah.
And but then he just is able to immediately like catch up to Red and like try to kill her. And then other superheroes, and it just like immediately Power Ranger vibes. I was like, no, I don't want this. I would have been fine if they like hinted at other characters throughout this story, which is also, I was supposed to say that during things I didn't like. I felt like there should have been more foreshadowing for certain things.
Yeah. I agree with that too. I was
Oh,
like,
yeah,
I was a
I
little
just-
shocked by.
Yeah, I just don't trust it to go in a direction that I'm interested in now.
Yeah, that would have been good, or like, especially if they had been like subtle about it, because there is a moment in the Radiant Red like origin where, like, right before she gets her powers, like there are 3 other colored like things coming off like the shooting star,
Mm-hmm.
and like that would have been like a nice little touch, is like to hint at like there's more people who are going to get these powers show up eventually.
Why didn't they just show that?
It happens after we see the other two characters, so
Why didn't
what's
they have like the yeah, you know how she sees, all the different lights coming off of it. Why don't they get to see that and be like, "What is that?" and then follow it and find the black hole? But no, they're just like, "What's that black hole?"
maybe they didn't
Yeah.
have the idea first.
That's fair.
That's the problem. That's a very big problem if you decide to write 4 other characters who are integral to your story now after you already wrote the story or started it.
Yeah. Yeah, that I just to say what I was saying earlier. Yeah, I agree. I wish that Radiant Pink and Yellow got some sort of foreshadowing, like, on the news, in the sky, somebody's random stray conversation. Marshall before
Whatever.
he's Radiant Black being like, "Hey, there's people like saying that your costume's pink, like I don't know what that's about." Like any of that
Were you
stuff.
at this location on this day?
Yeah.
I don't know. I see. So this goes back to what, like in the first issue, where they end the first issue and they're like, "Yeah, man, you're truly one of a kind," and then it reveals, "Oh, actually, he's not." Like I really enjoy that. And so, like, I don't know. Thinking about like having it be foreshadowed. I'm just like, I don't know if I would like that much,
Well,
or
not-
as
not-
much as what
It
I
doesn't have to
what
be
I got.
happen then.
Yeah.
It could have happened like later. Like maybe we get little hints.
No-
But yeah, it really is
no,
like
what-
we
I-
don't care about these characters.
No, I'm not talking about like right then. I'm talking about like what you were talking about throughout the story.
Yeah.
Get hints of the
I
other
can
characters.
agree with how like it's a good cliffhanger to have be like suddenly doing evil or whatever.
I will say, despite like, again, all very valid points that I agree with, I think that I am kind of interested in reading more. Yeah,
For what part?
I guess like I want to know like well, what I want to say is I want to know if it gets better, but that's not totally what I mean, because like it's not that it's like, this is so bad, but it has to get better. It's like,
Or are you curious enough about like Nathan's fate, or is it more
yeah,
of
I'm
Marshall's?
curious about Nathan and how he comes back. I'm curious to see Marshall fill out more as a character, and in general their world be filled out more, because I think that they can do it. I think that they spent a lot of time doing setup, but not in the ways that stories usually set up. And so like I feel like there's going to be like I feel like this big bad, of course, like it's obviously not the big bad, because why would they have like volume 2 enter and then it's like this is the climactic fight and now everything, the whole story ends. Like either the big bad is going to go away for a while for some reason, or they're going to defeat him and it turns out that there's somebody even bigger that's behind his actions and he's just like an assassin, whatever, sent by the actual guy, and it's like, wow, that guy was so hard, how are we going to be able to fight this bigger guy that apparently exists?
Like a tiered villain cake.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how most stories are, right? Like, we defeat the henchman. It's only the henchman, actually.
Right.
Then you have to fight the villain. I will say, probably not good sign for the story, or maybe just my reading comprehension level, where I was like, is this a self-contained book? Is it going to end soon after Nathan's death? Like, I actually thought that was going to happen. I was like, I don't think there's enough time for them to fight the big bad and triumphantly win. But I couldn't tell. I was on the fence, and there's like this, Satomi's backstory. I was like, oh, okay, never mind. The book is not going to end. The story is not coming to a conclusion.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Which I guess that's also kind of a bit of a thing that I didn't like too was that like it would have been nice actually if basically there was some sort of ending, some sort of like conclusion.
Contained. I mean, the conclusion is that Marshall decides not to kill Satomi
Yeah, I guess. And
because of surprise.
yeah,
I mean, that's technically development, but it's not a lot.
yeah.
Now, will it last?
Mm-hmm.
I think it will.
It does seem like the type of story where it's like all four of these characters are gonna have to work together to fight this villain, and they're not gonna be able to do it if they're trying to kill each other.
Do you think they can Zord kind of? Like they all have like
Ooh.
4 individual powers. Like maybe they can put their powers together, like in a.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably.
See,
Or they all do like a big beam attack, and it
I
like
was about to
combines.
say they're like in a Voltron, right?
Cross
Yeah,
streams.
yes.
Yeah, they're all gonna do big energy blasts, and they're gonna combine to make a bigger energy blast, like a big spirit bomb.
It'll be white.
They're gonna
all the
become a
colors.
big robot. Black, because all the colors become black.
Yeah. Something like
Yeah, man. We talk about if we'd read more, probably not. I'm gonna forget that we read this by the end of the year.
Gotcha.
I am not interested in reading more about this.
that. Okay.
Wow. Okay. All right.
So, Talon, you want to read more?
Oh yeah. They have interestingly enough, like volume 3 came out this month.
Oh.
Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
Okay.
Yeah, it's an ongoing story.
Yeah.
And
Going somewhere.
as I was reading it, I was kind of debating myself. I was like, do I want to read volume 2? No, I don't have time.
Oh.
Bonus comics panel episode where Talon and Cody discuss volume 2.
I will say though, I was thinking about reading the second volume as well because I finished this because I forgot that we weren't gonna meet until last week.
Oh.
So I had a whole extra week. I'm like, man, should I read more? I don't know if anybody else is gonna read more.
Yeah, if I had finished it so soon, I probably would have considered it too. But because I
You would have
waited
asked
until
last week.
yeah, but I like finished it yesterday, so
I mean, I guess that's not a total like bad review for the book if you're like, yeah, I have time, I'll read the next volume.
I wouldn't have hated it. It's just like this is such like a nothing book when it comes to like what it does with its heroes or its powers.
yeah.
I can see your point
So
there.
far.
I'm gonna say 2.5 comic panelers agree. Out of 4.
How do we do a different rating system like every 3 weeks?
Because it's fun.
Don't
It
do a
mixes it
rating
up.
system.
And next year we got to rank.
Yeah, that's their only standard really at this point, and it's not standard because we've done it once.
It's the only yes, it's the standard we've done one time. It's not standard.
Yeah. All right. I
I can't wait to forget.
I think that's all we have for today. Thank you all for listening. I'm Cody,
I'm Talon.
I'm Jacob.
I'm Shawenta.
and this has been the Comic Panel. Thanks for listening.
Thank you for listening. If you like this episode, be sure to subscribe to this channel as it helps us out on the YouTube algorithms and getting us seen by more and more people. You can also reach out to us with any thoughts you have on the things we talk about on Twitter at TheComicPanel1 and on Instagram and Facebook at The Comic Panel. Also, if you want to leave a comment, please do. Let us continue the conversation.